All right, welcome everybody. Be doing how to tell your story. This is section 5 on the Getting Started booklet. So this is what it's all about. Your story should be 60 to 90 seconds. That's why they call it a lift or an elevated story. If you're talking for longer than 90 seconds, you've lost people. You need to talk about your background, your struggle, your solution, and your future. All right, that's what you need to be doing. So your background, who are you, so that people can identify with you? What was your pain or challenge? The solution, what did you find? What are things looking like now? And then also, how do you feel about the future? And then these two are extracts from the Getting Started booklet. And there's a note to sponsors, send the video on how to tell your story. So if you're new and you don't have a 90-second story yet, then the challenge to you is to write out your 90-second story, video it, or write it up and send it to your sponsor or your upline director, and then ask them to check and print and improve, see if you can improve it. Longer than 90 seconds, trim it down, and that's the story. So this is a little bit more depth. How do you tell your story? So the first thing we said, we'll talk about two types of stories. There's one health story and a business story. And if you don't have a story yet, then I suggest you get going on the products really quickly so you can get your own story. But also, if you don't have a story, you can always tell somebody else's story, whether it's health or business. So the first thing, story number 1 is health, and story number 2 is business. So the first one, you talk about your background. Okay, so you want to make a reliable connection with a person so they can see you're just a normal person, you're not a robot. Then you talk about your struggle. What pain, you talk about the pain, what you didn't like. And then you talk about the solution. What did you find and what new path did you go on? Then you talk about the future. How do you feel about the future? So in terms of health, so this is my story. I trained and worked as a meteorologist. And when our children were really small, when Kirsty was 1 year old, she had double pneumonia. And it wasn't great handing her over to the intensive care unit. And it was around about that time when Natalie was also struggling with all sorts of flus. Somebody introduced us to the amazing nutritional products that Chris. And we found that within 3 to 6 months, our children's lives were completely turned around. We saved the medical aid so much money in South Africa that they actually gave us money back that year. And now they have families, they have young children, and they are feeling excited. They're incredibly healthy and having their own families and raising their own families. Incredible gold standard solutions. So that's my 60 to 90-second health story. All right. So there we go. The next one, business. You talk about your background. You talk about your struggle. You talk about the solution you found. And you talk about how you feel about the future. And you can also compare if you want to. My background in the UK, I trained as a maths teacher. And the exciting thing was, no matter how well I did, even though I added a great amount of value to anybody and everybody, to my students, I couldn't get paid anymore. So my struggle was really struggling with more with crowd management than anything else, than teaching. That really, really bothered me. And the exciting thing is that what we did was we discovered that through this business opportunity, I could actually cut my teaching down from 5 days to 3 days. And that's been a real lifesaver. And so we're not missing any income. And the future looks bright. It looks so good. We've already replaced Beverly's income. I can't wait for replacing my full-time income. Those are the two stories. So you should practice daily. So the challenge to you is to share 60 times in the next 60 days. But you make sure what you do is you make sure your story is right. It's only 60 to 90 seconds before you actually share it with other people. So make sure you contact your upline director and check that they're happy with it. Some key tips in making it: so make it short and sweet. You don't talk about near life anywhere. You just talk about what's changed for you. All right. Hopefully that helps. And that is the end of telling your story. Thank you very much.